Right now, all over the world, something big but quiet is happening. Millions of men are silently withdrawing from society, not with outrage, not with rebellion, but quietly, without a word. You can call it burnout, disillusionment, or rebellion. But beneath all the labels, it's something far deeper. Men are disconnecting, not because they've given up, but because they've finally realized the price of participation. They were told to be strong, to build, to win. But every time they did, the goalpost moved. The finish line was an illusion. This is what happens when men stop chasing the promise of peace sold to them by a system that never intended to deliver it. They aren't marching in the streets. They're quietly stepping back, walking away from a world that demands everything and gives almost nothing in return. They've become the invisible gears in the machine, the unacknowledged foundation holding up a society that barely notices them until they break. These men never signed the contract, yet they've been expected to pay for it, with their time, their sanity, their lives. This isn't headline news. It's not loud enough for that. This exodus is happening in silence, in dim apartments, on late-night walks, in the absence of voices at family dinners. It's not collapse. It's surrender of a different kind, not to defeat, but to truth. The truth that peace isn't found in performance. It's found in walking away. There's a reason so many men are stepping off the path. From the moment a boy is born, the rules of the game are whispered into his ear. Be hard, but not heartless. Be sensitive, but never weak. Work harder, climb higher, provide, protect, perform. Never falter, never complain, never break. For generations, this script defined manhood. Your worth wasn't who you were. It was what you could do, what you could provide, what you could endure. You were taught that your value was transactional. Give your labor, your loyalty, your health, and in return, you'll earn respect, security, love. But that exchange was never equal. The system was built on a silent trade, your effort for their approval, your exhaustion for their comfort. And for decades, men accepted it, believing it was the only way to be seen as worthy. Sociologists have long noted that the male identity was engineered around economic productivity. As historian Michael Kimmel once wrote, "We've socialized men to see success as the only language of self-worth." But what happens when the language no longer makes sense? When the rewards for playing the game start to vanish? Look around. The stable jobs that once gave men purpose have been automated, outsourced, or replaced by instability. The middle class, the foundation of masculine identity, is eroding. Hard work used to mean something. Now, it often leads nowhere. For many, the ladder of success has no top rung anymore, just endless climbing. And when you finally pause to breathe, society tells you you're lazy, unmotivated, a failure. But the exhaustion runs deeper than money. The definition of a good man has shifted, twisted, and multiplied. You're told to be emotionally available, a nurturing partner, an equal co-parent, all noble things, but none of the old demands have been lifted. You're still expected to provide, to lead, to never crumble. Now you must be both steel and water, tough but tender, relentless yet soft, ambitious yet selfless. The problem isn't evolution, it's accumulation. The modern man isn't living under new expectations, he's buried beneath all of them at once. Be ambitious, but don't make anyone uncomfortable with your ambition. Be vulnerable, but only in ways that don't inconvenience others. Be present at home, but never fall behind at work. Be strong, but never show that you're tired of being strong. This is the paradox that's breaking men. It's not weakness, it's overload. And so men retreat, not with fireworks, but with fatigue. They show up to work, but stop caring. They laugh with friends, but feel hollow inside. They stare at screens, scroll through endless feeds, and feel an ache they can't name. It's not apathy, it's silent rebellion. Because when the game is unwinnable, the smartest move isn't to play harder, it's to stop playing. Economists have called it the great male withdrawal. Labor force participation among prime-age men has quietly fallen for decades. But this isn't just about jobs, it's about spirit. Many haven't quit their careers. They've quit the illusion. They're still in the system physically, but mentally, emotionally, they've checked out. Because when you realize the game is rigged, what incentive is left to keep pretending? This isn't laziness, it's logic. It's the rational response to a culture that treats men as machines until the gears burn out. When the performance is endless and the applause never comes, something inside you breaks. It's not anger, it's resignation, a quiet, unspoken realization. I don't owe my life to this treadmill anymore. That's how the rebellion begins, not with fists in the air, but with silence. It begins the moment a man asks himself one devastating, freeing question: why am I still running? So how did we get here? How did the rules of the game become so one-sided that millions of men decided to simply walk off the field? The answer lies in something few are willing to admit. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It was built to extract, not to nurture. From the moment you're old enough to understand responsibility, the message is clear. Your worth depends on your usefulness. If you can work, build, protect, or provide, you're valuable. If you can't, you're invisible. This conditioning starts early. As boys, we're praised for toughness, not tenderness, for performance, not presence. We're taught that sacrifice equals virtue, that a real man is the one who carries the heaviest load, runs into the fire, dies on the hill. Movies celebrate it. History books immortalize it, and every time you see a man in a crisis being told to man up, the message is reinforced. Your pain doesn't matter, only your output does. That's what sociologists call the disposable male, the idea that men's lives are expendable in service of the system. You see it in the battlefield, in the coal mine, in the oil rig, in every job where the risk of death is traded for a paycheck. Over 90% of workplace fatalities are men. And yet, we rarely question it. Society thanks men for their sacrifice, but never asks why it was required in the first place. But disposability isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's the pressure to perform endlessly, to produce more, to never stop grinding. Even when you win, the victory is short-lived. You're only as good as your next paycheck, your next achievement, your next display of control. The system keeps you running on anxiety, dangling approval like a carrot you can never quite reach. And when your body or mind finally starts to collapse, you're told to push through it. When you burn out, you're mocked or replaced. It's what psychologists call performance-based masculinity, manhood as a constant audition. You don't just exist as a man, you have to earn it every single day. Through what you own, how much you make, how little you complain. The tragedy is that this performance is exhausting and self-erasing. You become a role, not a person. You wear masks, the stoic one at work, the stable one at home, until you forget who's underneath. Researchers describe this as the man box, a rigid set of rules demanding you stay tough, in control, unemotional. Any crack in that armor, a tear, a confession, a plea for help, is seen as weakness, and the cost of that silence is staggering. Depression among men often doesn't look like sadness. It looks like anger, withdrawal, escapism. It's not that men feel less, it's that they've been trained not to show it. The data paints a brutal picture. Men die by suicide nearly 4 times more often than women. Not because they want to disappear, but because they've been conditioned to never reach out. They don't call a friend. They don't tell anyone they're drowning. They simply vanish behind a calm expression and a, "Yeah, I'm fine." One study found that the number of men with no close friends has tripled since 1990. Tripled. Another found that more than half of young men agree with the statement, "No one really knows me." Think about that. An entire generation of men surrounded by people yet completely alone. Loneliness is the quiet epidemic no one wants to discuss. Men aren't just disconnected from others, they're disconnected from themselves. Every layer of identity has been built around external validation. Your job, your relationship, your achievements. And when one of those pillars falls, the entire self collapses. You're left staring at the question beneath all the noise. Who am I if I'm not performing? This is the trap. The system convinces you that your value lies in how much you can endure. It tells you to be selfless, but punishes you when you break. It tells you to open up, but mocks you when you do. It sells you status and comfort, but leaves you spiritually bankrupt. It's emotional blackmail disguised as purpose, and social media only amplifies it. Now, masculinity isn't just lived, it's marketed. Everywhere you look, you're told to be richer, stronger, more desirable. You're competing not with other men, but with an algorithm that feeds your insecurity for profit. The ideal man becomes an impossible collage of traits. The stoic provider, the shredded athlete, the sensitive listener, the alpha investor. A brand you can never live up to, but always feel pressured to buy into. No wonder men are checking out. When the game is rigged, walking away isn't failure, it's clarity. Some call it apathy. It's not. It's awareness. It's the understanding that no amount of status can replace genuine peace. So here's the truth. This system doesn't collapse when you rage against it. It collapses when you withdraw your energy, when you stop feeding it with your obedience, your fear, your constant need to prove. That's why so many men are going silent, not because they're lost, but because they've finally seen through the illusion. So what do you do when you finally see it? When you realize the game you've spent your entire life playing was never designed for you to win? For a growing number of men, the answer isn't to fight harder, it's to stop fighting entirely. The rebellion isn't loud or violent. It doesn't take place in the streets. It happens inside, the quiet decision to stop performing for a world that only values your productivity and to start living for something real. That's what makes this movement so misunderstood. Society sees men stepping back and calls it apathy. But it's not apathy, it's awakening. The quiet rebellion begins the moment a man reclaims his energy from a system that feeds on his exhaustion. It's not giving up. It's walking away from a table where the house always wins. The first pillar of this rebellion is redefining what it means to win. From childhood, we were told that success means more money, more possessions, more validation. But more is the very trap that keeps men enslaved. The quiet rebel starts to see that real victory isn't in accumulation, but liberation, wanting less, needing less, and protecting peace above everything else. You see it in small, radical choices. The man who turns down a high-paying promotion because he values evenings with his son more than a title. The one who trades his luxury car for a reliable one that doesn't drain his wallet or his pride. The guy who deletes his dating apps not out of defeat, but because he refuses to compete in a digital marketplace where connection is reduced to swipes. These aren't acts of weakness, they're acts of sovereignty. Minimalism for these men isn't just about stuff, it's about space, mental space, emotional breathing room. They stop measuring their worth by comparison and start measuring it by calm. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The quiet rebel lives that truth. The second pillar is reclaiming solitude. We live in a culture terrified of silence. Every free moment is filled with noise, notifications, scrolling, constant stimulation. But solitude isn't loneliness. It's where you meet yourself again. The quiet rebel understands this. He learns that an empty room isn't a prison. It's a sanctuary. When you stop chasing approval, you begin to rediscover your own voice. You remember the hobbies you abandoned. You rediscover the calm that doesn't depend on anyone else's attention. Solitude is not isolation, it's strategy. The quiet man who sits alone in peace is stronger than the one surrounded by people but haunted by emptiness. In solitude, he rebuilds his sense of self from the ground up. He's no longer playing the role of the provider, the winner, the constant achiever. He's just a man being human, thinking, reflecting, breathing. There's power in that, real power. The third pillar of this rebellion is authenticity over performance. The world rewards masks. It teaches you to smile when you're breaking, to act confident when you're unsure, to say, "I'm fine," when you're anything but. The quiet rebel removes the mask, first in private, then with a trusted few. He doesn't broadcast his pain for attention, he faces it for truth. Authenticity is the quietest form of courage, when you finally admit that you're tired or scared or lost, not to the world but to yourself. Something shifts. You stop chasing approval because you no longer need it. You realize that strength isn't about suppressing emotion, it's about having the discipline to face it without shame. And when that happens, you start attracting people who see you, not your image, not your role, not your output. Real friends, rare connections. The quiet rebel doesn't collect crowds. He builds a circle of gold. 2 true friends over 200 acquaintances. That's the new currency of peace. Look around and you'll see these men everywhere if you know where to look. The former corporate warrior who gave up the corner office to open a small workshop by the coast. Finally building with his hands instead of burning out behind a desk. The young guy who refuses the scripted path of debt, mortgages, and burnout. He works a modest job, spends his evenings reading, training, creating, and he sleeps well. Or the divorced father who stops begging for validation and starts showing up for his kids, his passions, his peace. Every one of them has realized the same truth. Freedom isn't out there. It's in here. It's in saying no to a world that profits from your exhaustion and yes to a life built on your own terms. This is the quiet rebellion, not rage against the system, but withdrawal from its illusion. As the old saying goes, when you stop chasing what isn't yours, you make space for what is. That's what these men are doing. They're no longer chasing ghosts, status, validation, approval, because they've finally remembered what those things cost. And when a man reaches that point, when he no longer craves what the system sells, he becomes untouchable. The machine loses its grip on him. He's no longer a consumer. He's no longer a cog. He's free. But what happens next? What does life actually look like on the other side of this quiet rebellion? When the noise fades, when the race ends, and the man stands alone with himself again. After you've stopped running, stopped chasing, stopped pretending, for the man who walks away, the world becomes quiet, unnervingly quiet at first. People mistake it for emptiness, but it isn't. It's peace. It's the silence that follows when you finally stop performing. It's the kind of quiet most men never get to hear because they're too busy trying to prove they exist. This is life beyond the game. It's not glamorous, but it's real. It's waking up without that pit of anxiety in your chest. It's sipping your morning coffee not to power through a grind, but to actually taste it. It's the satisfaction of doing work for its own sake, not for applause. It's laughing with someone because you feel joy, not because you're playing a role. It's looking in the mirror and recognizing the man staring back. The man who's walked away hasn't failed. He's evolved. He's traded the illusion of control for actual calm. He stopped chasing the image of success sold to him by others and started building something quieter. Self-respect, purpose, peace. His life doesn't look impressive on paper, but it feels right, and that feeling is everything. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once said, "The crowd is untruth." The man who walks away lives that truth every day. He no longer measures his worth through comparison because he finally understands that the competition was the cage. His goal isn't to win anymore, it's to live without needing to. In this new reality, masculinity isn't about dominance or status, it's about possession of the self. Integrity replaces image. Depth replaces noise. Freedom replaces validation. The man who used to crave approval now values silence. The one who used to chase attention now guards his time. The one who once defined himself by what others thought of him now defines himself by what he can live with in peace. He isn't antisocial, he's selective. He doesn't hate the world, he just refuses to sell his soul to it. He's not unambitious. His ambition has changed form. It's no longer about conquering the world, it's about mastering himself. That's what real strength looks like now. It's not the ability to endure everything. It's the wisdom to stop enduring what breaks you. This quiet life doesn't mean isolation. It means connection of a different kind. Conversations that matter, friendships that last, time that isn't wasted chasing metrics, likes, promotions. Validation. Time spent on things that give life meaning, creation, reflection, love, discipline, solitude. He may have fewer people in his circle, but the ones who remain are genuine. They know him, the real him. And that's worth more than any audience ever could be. If you look closer, you'll notice something happening across the world. This isn't just one man's story. It's a movement that's spreading quietly through bedrooms, offices, and cities. Men realizing they no longer owe their sanity to a system that doesn't care if they burn out. They're walking away, not from life, but from illusion. Not from duty, but from distortion. For the first time, they're realizing that they don't have to be at war with themselves to be worthy. They're seeing that walking away isn't giving up. It's taking back control. As one modern philosopher put it, the ultimate freedom is when nothing has power over you because you've stopped needing it. So to the men who feel invisible, exhausted, or disconnected, understand this: you're not broken, you're awakening. There are millions like you, quietly redefining what it means to live, to lead, to love, to be at peace. You're part of something bigger than rebellion. You're part of a quiet evolution. When you stop playing their game, you start living by your own rules. You realize that peace, not performance, is the real prize. That contentment, not conquest, is the true form of success. And that solitude, not social approval, is where real strength is born. The quiet rebellion isn't about retreating from life. It's about entering it fully, on your own terms. It's realizing that your value doesn't come from what you produce or how well you perform, but from the kind of man you choose to become when no one's watching. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever looked around and felt like you're done running a race you never signed up for, then know this: you're not alone. This is your community, a place where men question the script they've been handed and start writing their own, where peace is sacred, truth is power, and strength begins in silence. So if you've made it this far, take a moment, breathe. You don't need to chase anymore. You don't need to prove anymore. Your peace is yours to claim, and once you have it, protect it fiercely. Because a man who has made peace with himself is the one thing this world can't control. Your peace is not negotiable.